and yeah, we'll get to it. But the game last night was fun to watch. Recap the weekend. Like that was a good
Man,
game.
that
Wish there
was so much fun.
more, but
Yeah. I'll be interested in North Carolina tonight at TCU.
I was right about that actually. Yeah,
Yeah, the
that should
Belichick
be a
era
good game.
starts.
Right. They could look like a disaster, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're well coached. There's just so many transfers on that team. You never know what you're going to get when
TCU is generally
that.
pretty decent too. Like they're a good program. TCU's
Absolutely.
a good program, so they could. It wouldn't surprise me to see them going to beat North Carolina. Wouldn't shock me.
Especially like first game of the year, right?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, folks. Hell if we know. Brian, this is Chris. This is your podcast about college football. We're going to get right into it here. If you like the show, please share it. We'll find it all your favorite spots: YouTube, TikTok,
Spotify.
Thank you, iTunes, and Facebook. I've already said that again, but anyway, so we're going to jump into the games. We'll just lead off with the one we let off the other day. That would be Texas-Ohio State. And I must share, man.
That thud you guys heard was the Arch Manning Heisman campaign hitting the ground.
That just did not get going very well, did it?
No, it did not. Now he'll be good. Arch is going to be just fine.
He'll be fine.
It's that's a lot to ask of the kid. But he was in over his head Saturday.
Yes, he was. Yeah. So what's your initial thoughts? I mean, you saw not all the game because you were at the Syracuse-Tennessee game, but I'm guessing you've seen enough of this game to make a little bit of a comment, or you've seen box scores and highlights enough. You pretty much got it if you watch that.
Right. Well, I was at the Tennessee-Syracuse game in Mercedes-Benz, and when we talk about the Tennessee game, we were there, but we never get to our seats. We went to a little bar there that was in the corner of the end zone on the lower end.
Okay.
And found a high top table for 4, and it was first come first serve. We went in at 10 o'clock, and so they had the big jumbotron up above the field where you could watch the Tennessee Syracuse game and watch it live on the field, and then right over your shoulder is a TV with Texas and Ohio State. Okay. So I was able to kind of bounce back and forth, but every time I looked, he was throwing an incomplete. Arch was throwing something incomplete. So I was like, yeah, well, that's there you go. That's a
right.
Arch.
There's your scoring plays, folks. There's your play-by-play scoring plays. There's 3 of them.
3.
Only 2 quarters worth.
He just was uncomfortable, right?
Yep.
Just uncomfortable, and it was a bit too big for him. Now I suspect they get 3 cupcakes the next 3 games, and they go to Gainesville, Florida. We'll see how that game looks in 3 weeks' time, because that'll be the next big hurdle for him. But he'll learn from this. He'll be better. Texas will be better. Don't be surprised they still make the playoff because their schedule's not all that difficult. But this is it. And the thing is, Texas had chances to win this ball game. They were inside the 10-yard line twice, got stopped on 4th down. I mean, they had chances to put 21 on the board and just couldn't. Ohio State defense did a really good job of, bending, not breaking.
They did great. Yeah, they, including the goal line stand there, which I don't know. I think it's the sample size may be big enough to see that Sark might struggle a little bit in the red zone with some of his play calls. We saw it in the semifinals last year against Ohio State, where he's doing toss sweeps to the short side of the field and inside the 5, and then he's just plowing right ahead. Which this Ohio State D line wasn't getting a lot of pressure on passing downs, but they were stout against the run. Their tackles held up really well, and so he just rams into the middle of the field like he's trying to prove something rather than get your athlete on the outside, screen something outside. They might have been in the end zone that first time that they got stopped. But with Arch, I tend to agree. It's no way can't write him off yet, of course, right? Because it's really early in his career, but he had plenty of time to throw the ball.
Yes,
Ohio State did not have a great pass rush, and that offensive line from Texas is legit. They gave him all kinds of time, and even with that, he's thrown the ball high. He's hitting guys in his shoes. He's throwing behind them. He never got settled at all. Now, is it just he didn't get settled, or is Matt Patricia showing him some looks he wasn't expecting? Probably a little combination of everything, but I expected him to look a lot better
Me too. Yep.
because we've seen him make plays like that, and he actually made a couple plays. He made a couple throws in that fourth quarter. That one down the sideline, a wheel route to the tight end, and then
Yeah,
the touchdown
that's a
to
pro
the wide
throw right
receiver.
there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why they're paying him whatever $2 million a year. It's not the one where he missed the crossing route to was it? I think it was the Trey Wingo. So I don't know if you're a Texas fan, you probably want to hit panic because that was a really poor outing. But he made enough throws, and you saw your offensive line hold up against a good defensive line that if Arch settles in, you're probably going to be all right because your defense is legit. That we can say. The offense, Texas defense is very legit. They controlled the line of scrimmage for the most part. They had more total yards than Ohio State did. They
Ran
made
for
Sagan
166.
uncomfortable. Yeah, they ran for
Ran for
160. I mean,
166.
so yeah, they didn't make enough play. The fourth down ones that struggled. Like that was it, right? I mean,
they were 1 for 5
was,
on fourth down.
yeah, and had one interception.
Mm-hmm.
They have another two. Yes, yeah, that's just tough. And then Ohio State on their side, like I thought they looked okay. I mean, I think defensively they look really good, but offensively, this ain't C.J. Stroud and Marvin Harrison Jr. and that group, right? I mean, obviously you're not going to write off Jeremiah Smith, but he had a couple drops. He was getting visibly frustrated. He wasn't getting the ball. Hell, I think Carnell Tate, who we bragged about last week, looked just as good as Smith,
Yep.
frankly, and he's
He
a
did. He did
maybe first
Saturday.
round kid too. So they looked okay. I mean, it's Sayan's first snaps, and he played pretty well. He didn't do anything to hurt the team. He didn't make any. He made one big play down the field to Tate, but otherwise they kept it pretty vanilla for him. They kept it pretty safe. He wasn't having to do a lot of reads over the middle, that kind of thing. So, and his wide receivers dropped probably at least 3 balls I can think of. Tight end dropped 1, Smith dropped 2. There might have been another one in there. So
Do you
I think
think?
if you're an Ohio State fan, he looked pretty good, actually. I mean,
Yeah, if you're an
overall.
Ohio State fan, you're like, this is the floor. I mean, this is the worst we're going to look this year. We're going to go anywhere.
Yep.
Same with Texas. I think both
Yeah,
those teams
absolutely.
probably looked as bad as they're going to look all year during this game.
Yes.
And there's only one way to go is up. But do you think Ryan Day is watching the game kind of unfold and see that, well, we're this, Arch isn't lighting us up. They're not just driving up down the field. We're able to kind of control this thing a little bit of defense. Let's dumb it down on our side on offense and punt the ball and see if we can get a timely score or a timely first down here and there and try to steal this one. And not really steal because they were up 14-0, but not get over their skis too much, I guess is a better way to put it, where you're, like, well, we're kind of control this thing on defense, especially once they got up 2 scores. Like, let's just throttle this thing back and punt them the ball. And until they put us some game pressure, we're just going to play as vanilla as we could possibly play.
I'd say they did that pretty well.
Yeah. It
No
worked.
reason to put your redshirt freshman quarterback in a bad situation, right?
No,
I mean,
not when you're up 14
there's no
points.
need
You
to.
don't want to gift them
14
a
points.
pick
Right.
6 or something.
Keep it simple. Throw some screens, quick outs to Smith and the other wide receivers. Hit your tight end over the middle with short routes. You don't ask them to do too much, and there's no reason to do that when you got control of the game by and large, right? They had all the momentums. They kept, even when Texas got a swing, Ohio State, it doesn't feel like they had a big momentum swing, right? They get the touchdown, but then it just felt like it was an uphill battle for Texas all day from the first snap. From the first couple times Arch threw the ball into the dirt, basically, when he had plenty of time.
Right, he had plenty of time, and it looked to me like he went to the right. He went to the right person to throw the football to. He just was inaccurate AF, like just at their, like I said, Sheila overthrowing them just behind him. The Wingo pass during the fourth quarter when they're the last drive is behind him.
Yeah,
He's
bad,
still running
right.
if he catches that. And it's
Absolutely. Yes, exactly.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, he had a lot of green grass in front of him, so I don't necessarily do scores, but he has a big play, and that changes that game significantly.
Well, that was on third
Texas
down.
fans,
But
that was
then
on third down. That's right, that was on third down even, yeah. So Texas fans, hang in there. I know it's you're back or whatever, but you got like Chris said, couple weeks tuned up for the trip to Gainesville. That may not be a fun time. I mean, Arch's going to need to settle in there. It's not any quieter there and less hostile. So
yeah. And Florida has a much tougher row to hoe getting to that Texas game because they get USF next week, and
That's right.
then they go to LSU, and then they go to Miami, and then they get Texas at home. So they're going to be,
They're going to be beat up a little bit.
yeah, their road to there is much tougher than what Texas has just got three, Missouri states and things like that. So
Yeah.
there's not a,
They're just tune-up games.
yep, that's it. Get
Florida's got
stuff
to play
ironed
ready.
out. Yep,
Yeah, maybe that's good for Florida. They need, to figure out who they are right away. They didn't
they're
get
gonna
challenged by Long Island U. That's not going to. There's the Sharks. Is there a lot of sharks in Long Island? Maybe there's great whites
apparently.
apparently along there. I didn't realize that Suffolk County Sharks there. All right, so there's a few games to just kind of glaze over. Penn State looked fine. You expect them to look
Yeah,
like against Nevada. Nothing really much to say there. LSU-Clemson game. That's a game that I was in and out watching because I was watching, of course, the Michigan game.
talk about
Both of these coaches really needed this win. I mean, especially Kelly probably more so, I guess, because they'd lost
like,
4 or 5 openers. But Dabo, you know, they're not exactly excited about his tenure the last couple years. Like they've struggled, and I thought they'd have a better offense. I thought they'd put together more so, but hell, maybe it's more about that LSU defense is very legit, including Harold Perkins, who was, gee boy, yes, absolutely. Well, that cat can run too, Perkins.
yes,
He closed on Klubnik one time. I thought, how did he get there? It was like he went from like 15 yards in about 2 seconds. I swear, long strides, just violently too. But so what I saw of this was Clemson was wholly unimpressive overall. I mean, defensively they're going to be fine. So they're going to be fine in that conference. But matching up and making plays against a great defense like LSU, well, they struggled more than I thought they would actually.
well, they didn't run the ball. I thought it was like it felt like make Cade Klubnik a hero night is what it felt like the game plan was. They threw the ball 38 times, they only run it 20 times.
Right?
That's not enough.
No,
Run the ball
no.
more. I mean, you gotta pound on them. That's what LSU did. LSU was really, I mean, Klubnik was a 9 of 38 for 230 yards. I mean, that's a QB rating of 31.4.
That's not great.
No, that's not going to get it done. But
Well,
then
especially since how much they expect him and how much hell the media. A lot of people are picking Clemson to either win it or be in the title game or in the semis, one of the two.
yeah,
So
I just felt like they leaned on Klubnik and those wide receivers. That was the game plan. We're going to throw it all over the yard. We're going to run it just to keep them honest and not actually try to establish it. And we're just
mhm,
going to throw it around. And that was not a great game plan. LSU had 25 first downs to 13 for Clemson.
right. Look at the time of possession. It's almost 37 minutes for LSU. So
That's
that's going to lead
crazy.
you to lead to.
You want to hear a crazier stat that I found? The entire second half, the whole second 30, LSU had the ball the entire time except for 9 minutes.
Good grief!
The entire time.
Wow. And doesn't even really show up that much. They only had 108 yards rushing. LSU did. But you do that 31 times, you let that clock tick, 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 and you get enough first downs. I mean,
How many throws?
they were only
Yep.
4 of 11 on third downs. Not great, like that's okay, but not great. Um, yeah, this game was just kind of a bit of a rock fight. Not all that different from the Ohio State Texas game, really. I mean, some teams that are going to be fine. Obviously, LSU looked a little bit better. Clemson, I anticipated them looked a little better than they did, but we also expected Texas to look hell of a lot better than they did too. So chalk this up a little bit to first game of the year. And we're seeing this, like, this is kind of a high level overarching thing, but since NIL, things are starting to level out and you're starting to see teams be a little more leveled out. And there's one
Yep.
particular program we're going to talk about from the South in a little bit that's, they may be going below level after that loss. So this is where we're at here, and I think that's good for football, right? I think it's good. You're seeing teams like Syracuse get 5-star wide receivers, which is a little goofy, but you're seeing Texas Tech load up with 2 of the top 10 kids in the class of 2027 already tied up due to NIL. So there's more parity, and we're kind of seeing it now. Whereas Clemson and teams like Bama, uh, they kind of dominated for a few years because they were able to just hit 2 or 3 5-stars on the bench and just next man up. Now you don't have that luxury. Those kids can go in there where they want. and get paid and play right away. There's no reason to stick around unless you really love it there, like a Nussmeier. He's been there for a while. But yeah, uh, a big win for LSU. I
Yeah,
think
huge for Brian
as much
Kelly.
as anything. Yeah, because Clemson will be able to cruise through. I mean, let's look at their schedule here.
If that's the LSU defense all year, they're going to be a
Yeah,
problem.
absolutely. Right. Yeah, so Clemson, I tell you what, this game at Georgia Tech ain't going to be nothing to sneeze at in 2
Nope.
weeks.
Nope.
Syracuse at home. Who knows? We'll see what Carolina looks like tonight. Um, and then, they got a SMU team at home. They get Florida State at home at Louisville, and then South Carolina on the road. So, they got some more losing. They might be not done losing. Um, I think they have a couple more losses probably in them now. Depending on who that's to, they might still be in the ACC championship game if one of the losses to is South Carolina.
Well, they could easily be 10-1 going into that South Carolina game. Wouldn't shock me.
Yes.
Right off
No,
10.
not
I,
at all. Right.
I would love to have that schedule.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wouldn't that be great?
That would be
But
really nice because that's a shoe in for when 10-2 seems to be the benchmark for the playoffs. When it goes to
right.
16, 9-3s are going to get in. It's going to like the NFL
Yes.
playoffs.
Absolutely.
You ain't got to
Right.
be undefeated to make it, or even
No,
ten and
exactly.
two. 9-3s will
I
be in
think that's
there.
good overall. I don't know if I want to go much more than 16. Because you start getting this like teams that borderline 8-4. Like, what are we doing here, folks? This person's not going to contend. It's not like the NCAA tournament where there's that much parity, where you get like a Butler team that like that every few years, like compete with the Duke in the title game, that kind of thing. We just don't see that as much. Maybe we'll see it more because of the NIL, but this is different in football, I guess, just a different animal. Yeah, so Clemson should be able to be pretty good. Again, I'd circle this 9-13 game. We'll talk about that in a couple weeks. I like this Georgia Tech team. They're fun to watch. I watched them
Yep,
play a little
their
bit at
coach is
Colorado.
awesome.
Yeah, they're good. The Hayes and Hayes combo, that's a good combo. They go into Boulder and get a W, so that was pretty impressive. Then LSU, let's look at their schedule here quick.
So I think they got a.
So they got La Tech,
Yep.
and then they get to
No.
Florida at home.
Florida home. Yep.
Yeah. They got a tough Ole Miss, South Carolina back-to-back. At
That's tough.
Vandy, A&M, Bama back-to-back. Then they get a couple, probably easier games before they play at OU. So they got a lot, they got some tough schedule, but they don't play you guys. They'll play Tennessee, they don't play Georgia.
Oh, they dodged
So
Georgia. Yep.
a
Dodged
little bit.
Auburn. Right.
Dodge Auburn, yep, who
Yep.
looked pretty good from what I saw of Auburn. I'm guessing OU was happy with Mateer, but Arnold looked pretty good for Auburn too, I thought.
We'll find out about Mateer next Saturday night.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, so get back to scores. All right, so we could touch on Illinois. If you're Illinois fans, we watched a little bit of this. I watched some of it. They look pretty good, actually. Western's nothing, not much of a challenge, but, they move the ball pretty well. Illinois did. Sound defensively. The offensive line looked good. But, you're not going to learn a lot about them until they play Indiana in a couple weeks. But, these are teams where Illinois in the past, they've struggled to win these games. So they're putting up 52 points and giving up 3. That's a big swing for that program. And it has to do with Bielema, right? They've had talent here coming here and out, in and out last
Well, I
few
tell you
years.
what, Brett Bielema doing a good. That one surprises me because he's been around, and him.
Yeah.
He bounced on Wisconsin and
Yep.
down to
Arkansas was
Arkansas,
a
which
disaster.
is just absolutely disaster. And then
Well, the
Illinois just
places
like,
to
well,
lead to.
hell, we can't do much better. Let's just hire that guy. And he's been really good up there.
He can coach, man. He puts good assistants around him.
Yep.
Starting to one thing Illinois has always struggled to do is get the top kids in the state to stay home, and they're not hitting all of them, but they're at least getting some of those top 25 kids in the state, some of the top 10 kids in the state. If they can start keeping those kids home that are going to Michigan or Notre Dame, and there's a kid went to Miami. If you got a kid from Chicago, it's hard to compete with South Beach, I know, but you got to figure out how to keep those kinds of kids home. They're those elite defensive linemen. Those are the kids you got to keep home. But anyway, Illinois playing pretty well early on. So I'd be, if you're an Illinois fan, just excited. We touched on South Florida beating up on Boise. That South Florida team, that's a team we're going to talk about on
Next week in
Thursday when we
Gainesville,
do our
that one could
picks.
be.
Yep,
Yep,
absolutely. Yeah, so Chris and I will do recaps on Monday, and then we'll do previews on typically Thursday, probably. So look for that. All right. Didn't learn much about Georgia. That's just a scrimmage. Same with Oregon. Now we'll get to this game here. Oh boy! Now you called this one to some degree. I don't remember if you said, I didn't write down whether we kept straight up or win or lost, but I anticipated Bama win that game because I didn't think Florida State would look that much better than this year. But they're light years better than they were last year, both defensively and offensively, and just how they carry themselves. Like they are back. They are back to being like, we're Florida State. We don't care who you are, bring it. And I think that's good. Florida State being good is good for college football, I think.
absolutely.
Did you get to see much of this game? You were on the road, probably.
Yep, on the road home. Didn't get to see it. I was just getting score updates from the guys in the back seat that were doing it. But FSU pretty much turned a lot of that roster over. It was like maybe last year, a lot of those kids that were there just wasn't bought in,
Right.
and they wouldn't all rowing the boat in the same direction. And Mike Norvell says, you know what, we're going to bring in a bunch of transfers and tell them, hey, this is how we're going to play it. This is how we're doing it, and looks like those kids bought in. We'll find out if it's more FSU or if it's Bama, or maybe a little both. They looked really. I mean, from the highlights I've seen, they looked really good. They looked really good on defense. Looked really athletic on defense. Way more athletic than last
Very,
year for sure.
very, very. I mean, they look fast and they are physical defensively. And Tommy Castellanos, the quarterback that transferred in from BC, who is kind of their nemesis the last couple of years when they played each other, he said, I don't know, a while back, I'm paraphrasing, I'm not really afraid of him. I don't think they can stop us. Like, boy, that's a lot to
All
say,
the
man. You're talking about this. So, yeah, called a shot, and they took care of business. I mean, it was a very impressive game by Florida State. I did not anticipate them putting up 31 against the Bama team. And Bama looked pretty pedestrian, frankly. Like, I think we see why Ty Simpson couldn't be the starter the last couple of years. It's partly because Milrose is elite athlete talent, arm talent, and leg talent. But Simpson was wholly unimpressive by and large. He made some plays where he scrambled around and got loose and made a few plays, but man, I mean, if he's their guy, Bama's not done losing this year either. I mean,
No, not even.
that's there's a couple of clips I saw of a kid in particular, outside linebacker, just kind of jogging after a play, jogging, watching a guy run down the end zone. I'm like, Nick Saban would probably murder this kid if he saw the game film. So it just looks like a different Bama team.
The culture's different.
It is different, right?
The whole culture's different at the Alabama program. That's what it is. I was looking at stats on this one. The biggest one I found, which I don't think has ever happened against a Nick Saban defense, is FSU had 23 run plays of 4 yards or more.
They were
That is
gashing him.
incredible. Just
Yes.
absolutely. You just didn't see that from Saban.
No.
And I don't know if you've seen this one, but it took Kalen DeBoer 10 games to lose 6 games to unranked opponents, or no, lose 4 games to
4.
unranked opponents. Yeah. It took Nick Saban 128.
Yeah. I saw a picture of what it was, side-by-side pictures of Saban in his office. It was beautiful old wood, decorated footballs and helmets and everything. And they said the Alabama culture changed when they made this DeBoer's office look like a Verizon store. Because it's all like modern and there's lights everywhere and stuff. It's really beautiful, but it's just, that's like a microcosm of what this school looks like, or their program looks like now. I mean, they're just different, right? And I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. I think Simpson, their guy, right? I mean, they got a stud quarterback that came in this class, but
He'd be the guy if he was better.
He might have to play a little
I mean,
bit. I don't know. I mean, they get a couple tune-ups. They play, whomever awful team in this next weekend, and they get kind of a pretty mediocre to potentially bad Wisconsin team the week after. So I mean, they're not done losing. Like,
they're 8-4.
This Bama, they're not going to be. Yeah, they're an 8-4 kind of team. They
They're
look like an 8-4
team.
team too. Absolutely, they look like an 8-4
Exactly.
team.
Yep.
Physically and how they athletically. Ryan Williams again not getting the ball. He's not had a 100-yard game since like the Georgia game last year. Um, Teams are just taking him out. Now Bernard's a good wide receiver, but he's not Williams. He's not as dynamic and electric as Williams. And Williams got lit up a couple times. He got the alligator arms, it looked like, and
And none of
so
that
that
matters
that
if you
played a
can't throw him
part.
the football. If you can't throw an
Oh,
accurate ball,
exactly.
then none of that matters.
No, exactly. So I think that they're not done losing, and Florida State not done winning. Man, that was as impressive. I've seen them play. Obviously, all last year was a train wreck, but they look
Well,
really, really good, and they have not
Gus
much for a little
Malzahn,
while. Yeah,
Gus
Gus
Malzahn
Malzahn. Yes,
can
absolutely.
call ball plays.
Some things he did, just sort of little subtle things,
Mm-hmm.
like that's why he's an elite play caller, and that was Norvell's best decision his tenure there
Yep.
at Florida
I'd
State.
save
They
his
needed
job.
something. Yeah, you get rid of the quarterback, that was a problem. Get your
Yep.
new O coordinator, and
Bring
so
in a
far
bunch of
so
kids that
good.
actually want to play for Florida State.
Yeah,
Get rid
exactly,
of the scrubs that went 2-10 last year.
precisely.
And that says something about the portal, right? You can flip your whole I think they brought in like 20 something kids. Like
Yes, they
it's
did.
a very high number. So that means DeBoer had meetings is like, or not DeBoer, but Norvell had meetings is like, listen, 2-10 is unacceptable. You're not cutting it. You're out of here. And they just brought in a bunch of kids that bought in. And then Malzahn coaching, and they could win the ACC or at least be in the championship game. I don't see why
I think
not.
there's from what I saw from them, I'd be surprised if they weren't. I mean, look at this schedule. They don't do much in September. They get like 3 tune-up games. They get Miami at home, Pitt at home. They got to go cross country to Stanford. Stanford's not very good, so I assume they'll take care of business. Yeah, Wake, and you got to look for that Clemson game. So until the middle of November, basically they got 2
one
games,
loss.
Miami and Clemson.
Be a one loss team going to that Clemson game.
Perhaps, yeah, or none. Like if they take,
Possibly.
I mean, that Miami look good. We'll talk about that in a few weeks, I guess. But that's like old school Miami, Florida State. Both teams look pretty good. Maybe they're both back a little bit. We'll see. Clemson, then they go to the swamp, late in the season. But that's a team that Florida State will be up there in consideration of that ACC championship late in the season, I believe.
Talk about a bounce back year. You're 2-10 last year. You come back and go 10-2 and make the playoff.
That would be
how you not
make a
giving him
little
coach
run,
of the
even
year?
maybe.
Uh-huh.
Make a little run and say stick it to the committee from sticking it to us 2 years ago.
There you go. Yeah.
And we got Bama. We'll look at their schedule here quick because they, like I said, they aren't done winning. I agree with you. They look like an 8-4 team. This Georgia game, we don't know anything about Georgia yet, right? I mean, we'll know more about them. Well, they play you guys in a
2
couple
weeks.
weeks, so 2 weeks. So they had Georgia, and you got Tennessee, South Carolina, LSU, OU. You think they're done losing? Or no, they're not done losing at all.
No. Now
I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's possibly 6 more losses. Not all of them are going to lose, but
no.
there's teams that they're not going to be favored here.
There's a team on there, though,
they'll be favored there.
There's a team on there that comes to Tuscaloosa right after the Georgia game that they dropped last year that looks really good. Boy, you want to talk about Kalen DeBoer getting run out of T-Town? Let Vanderbilt and Diego Pavia come in there and beat them again.
Wouldn't that be something? When's the last time Bama got beat by Vanderbilt 2 years in a row?
Probably.
Probably never, right? You don't even get to leave the stadium in your own car, your given car. If you lose to Vanderbilt at home, it's like, no, take an Uber home. We already packed your bags, and your wife's packing the suitcases and stuff. So
tarmac. Lane Kiffin is asked.
Yeah, he's on Lane Kiffin him. He's not even going to get that Missouri game to actually get the tarmac. He's going to get it from the stadium. So I don't know. Like, I think DeBoer's a good coach, but he's got a lot to
maybe not a
figure
good
out.
fit.
Not a good fit,
coach,
right?
not
Exactly,
a good fit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, it's also like, who wants to follow the greatest coach ever? I don't know that was a great idea for anybody, but hey, kudos for him for taking a shot at it.
And a $60 million buyout.
Right. Which that's nothing to sneeze at. I know Alabama has money, but that's a big buyout because then you're going to have to pay someone else that much too, because they're not going to just settle for, the next
You'll be
second-rate
buying out a
guy.
good coach. Yep.
So absolutely they will. So they may be stuck with him another year, and who knows? Maybe they'll turn it around and they'll look better. But with this schedule and how they looked and their quarterback play, I'm skeptical. It looks like an 8-4 team. I think their floor might be a 5-loss team potentially,
I mean, you drop every
maybe
one of those games because
6-loss.
your quarterback plays so bad. I mean, how many times? I
Right,
mean, you're a Michigan fan, I'm a Tennessee fan, and we've both
right.
seen good Michigan and Tennessee teams be really really bad because they can't get good quarterback play, and you have to get good quarterback play. And if you can't get it, you're destined for 500 or 7-5
Yes.
or in eking out games that you should blow out.
No, exactly. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
last year, Michigan, great example. It's
Yes,
one of the top 2 or 3 defenses in the S&P Plus at the end of the season. An abomination for quarterback play. Like they won 4 games passing under 100 yards last year.
that's crazy.
For
That's
the
insane.
USC game, they had 32 passing yards. They won that game.
Uh-huh.
USC game. Ohio State game, they had like 60 yards passing, won that game in Columbus. So if JJ would have come back, like this is about ifs, of course, right? They had just Shea Patterson, average quarterback play. They're playoff contender.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
there's a couple losses there. They probably would have beat Indiana. They would have they probably could have beat Illinois or Washington if they had competent quarterback play. So that's the difference here. So we'll see how long the leash that Simpson gets, but it may not be too long if they're not able to produce. So a lot of time spent on Bammer there, but that's a big thing there. I think right. That's both programs flipping around where they have been the last year or so, 2 years or so. So uh, let's see. So Arizona State took care of business. Not much to see there, right? Talk
There's your
about Yeah,
yeah.
we can talk. Actually, we should rewind. We should go back and talk about the Tennessee game. You were at the game, traveled to Mercedes-Benz, made it there and back in one day. Um, what was your thoughts about the stadium in general, and then like the game itself, how Tennessee played?
Well, the stadium is fantastic. What a cool place. They did a good job. I've been to the Georgia Dome 3 times, and it was outdated. It got built like in the early '80s, and you could tell. It just you go in there, you just felt '80s vibe, or just outdated.
Hmm.
Mercedes-Benz is everything opposite of that. I mean, it's got restaurants and bars, and the lighting inside, instead of being just a big jumbotron right in the middle, it's a circle that goes around.
Sure.
It goes around the outside where the top opens up. But didn't open the top. The top opens up, so the circle big screens go around that top, which is pretty cool. Uh, it's a cool place. And you know what? I figured I dreaded parking because it's Atlanta, and
Right.
anyone that's ever been to Atlanta know parking sucks. So we drove right in there. We got there about 10 o'clock, about 9:45 or so. We was trying to catch the ball walk. We just missed it, but we was trying to
Oh,
catch
sure.
it. And got parked, walked right over to the stadium, went by where SEC Nation was doing their thing on over in Centennial Park next to the stadium, which is pretty cool. And then just walked around. At 10 o'clock, the stadium opened. We walked right in, and as soon as we walked in, we walked right. We was pretty close to our section, which was in an end zone, kind of in a corner. But we went to the opposite corner,
Okay.
and there was a really nice, like a bar area. And we're like, "Hey, is this assigned seats in here?" She's like, "No, first come, first serve. You guys want to grab a spot?" Well, there was a high top 4 chair table right there on the other end of the corner of the end zone, which was way down low. It was a cool spot. It's like, well, we might just stay here because the bar is right behind us. So food was right behind us and everything. So we just hung out there the whole time. So it was good. Getting out was good. We was back on 75 in no time after we left the stadium, and then just rolled on back home. So Mercedes-Benz Stadium, very nice. I would go
Concessions
back.
were cheap. Like
Yeah,
were they?
we paid
That's what
150
they
bucks. Yeah. Oh, concessions. Yes. Yeah.
concessions. Yeah.
Yeah. Burgers were like $3, $4.
That's
So, but
so that
dogs.
was
Yeah.
that's legit. So I didn't know if they would change for depending on who's playing there, but that sounds like their concessions or their prices or whatever. So
Beers were like
that's
ten
incredible.
bucks, which is high, of course, but not,
Right. Right.
I've paid much more.
But you're not paying $10 for a water or
No, no,
$12
no.
for a burger with no cheese or ketchup on it
Yeah.
or anything.
Nope. Nope. They were $5 burger. They tasted like $5 burgers,
Well, sure,
but
but
they were
it's
fine.
I mean,
You at the ball
but
game. Who cares?
yes, you have the game. Right. Exactly. No, it's seriously a burger and a hot dog. The taste just goes up a level no matter if they've been sitting there for 6 hours, it's just a different atmosphere.
they could have made them the weekend before. We still would have tore us. So we'd have torn them apart. $5.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, you could get,
As far as the game,
yeah, Tennessee looked, because
they were.
I thought they looked good. I'll just say what I
Yep.
saw. I think they looked good because I'm flipping back to Texas-Ohio State game. I thought Tennessee looked good. The first drives, they controlled the line of scrimmage pretty well. They ran the ball, threw the ball pretty well. Obviously, I missed some because they gave up some points I think they'd like to have back. But overall, it looks like I thought they played pretty well, I thought, considering it's game one.
Yeah. Well, that's right. Game one. Defense, yeah, needs a little work, but that's okay. The third play of the game, they lost starting defensive tackle.
Okay.
Yeah, and Jackson Moy. So they lost him immediately to elbow, and he didn't come back. And then they lost Ricky Gibson's second quarter, I think, who was a starting corner. So they lost him. So they had some injuries they were overcoming, but overall they were fine. Aguilar, that it starts and ends with him. He looked in complete control. He did miss a couple of throws, but the deep ball the deep ball to
Boy,
Staley was
that was
just a
beautiful.
thing of beauty. Yeah, it was, and they had some other good throws too. Ran just a little bit, not much, enough to get around. He'll have to run a lot in a couple weeks. We'll
Sure.
talk about that in a couple weeks, but
Yeah.
there's going to be a time he's going to have to go get yards because it breaks down because of Georgia. But yeah, they were good. The most impressive stat I've seen on Joey Aguilar was he was 4 of 7 on third down for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns on third down. That'll get it
That's
done.
that'll
That's
get
a
it
winner
done.
right there. You can win
Yes.
that way. 248
Absolutely.
rushing yards. Heupel just churns out rushing yards. It doesn't matter. We could go play running back for the University of Tennessee, Brian, and we're going to rush for 1,000 yards. It's
Right.
just the way it
Right.
is.
He's just
He
got it.
just
The
just
balance, it's like the way it sets it up, probably the pass to the run and vice versa. Yeah.
well, he
I saw,
changed a lot.
yeah, did he? Yeah, right.
He's changed. He has went from Heupel when he first got here was 3 and 4 wide. Who's in the box, run pass based off that number and play with that. He's doing a lot more heavy packages and H-backs and tight ends and stuff like that now and running out of that. And he's got athletic. Kitzelman's going to be a pro.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a
And
stud.
yes. And then they're just really athletic at tight end so they could block and they get out there and they run. They can really run. They got great hands. So he's just doing more out of that now. And then
Hmm.
the Staley's a slot guy. He's gonna have a big year. Brandon Staley Jr. Yep, he's gonna be
Hmm.
a big guy. He's gonna have a big year. He's gonna have a Jalen. He won't have a Jalen Hyatt year, but he's gonna have a big year.
Yeah. I like Bishop, man. He was flying on that 47-yard kid because he got wheels, man. You got the talent there, right?
Yeah, the
I
roster's
really
good.
like Kits. Yeah, I like Kitzelman. He was a freshman last year, was he?
He's a
Oh,
transfer.
that's right. Never mind. He's a transfer. Okay.
Yep,
That's right. I remember
he
him.
come from Bama. Bama just let him
Yeah,
roll.
that's right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
right.
Thank
The
you.
a cool stat I seen. Josh Heupel, when you rush for 177 yards or more under Heupel, 32-2.
Okay.
That's
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 pretty
pretty
good.
good.
I wonder what the losses are. Do you know what they are?
The
Be
two
curious if,
probably the South Carolina game a couple years ago, whenever South Carolina scored 60 something, probably that game. And probably
a Florida or Bama game, maybe. I
yeah,
mean,
something like that. I'd say yeah,
some of those
maybe the
Florida games that they were right neck and neck all game and
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
maybe it's a Purdue game. I think they ran for a lot in the Purdue game
Oh,
his first year.
there you go.
Yeah, I bet it's that one.
So that was a long time ago. That was a
Hmm.
different Josh Heupel at that point, right? All right. So yeah, Tennessee looked pretty good. That's a top 25 team. That makes sense from what I saw for sure. Again, um, I'm talking about Michigan for a little bit. I don't know if you got to see a hell of a lot of that game, but
I was back and forth between that and LSU-Clemson. I
I
wanted to
figured
say
you were
Underwood.
watching that more. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to say Underwood. See how he did.
This kid's got it.
He
He has
does.
got
He's
it.
really good.
That was a freshman who had complete command of the offense, both, uh, culturally with how the people gravitate towards him and how he threw the ball and took care of the ball. He had a couple plays that looked like, yeah, you look like a freshman. Looked like you were just turned 18 a few days ago. But he had some plays like not many guys in the NFL can make that kind of throw. He He was 21 of 31 for 250 yards. He had at least 3 or 4 drops. A couple of them were behind the receivers, but you had your hands on the ball. You should probably pull that in. But he also has an absolute laser for an arm, like just effortlessly flicked laser. And they didn't even do anything about running him. That was turned off. This RPOs there was no run. It was a PO
Put
with
in
the
Norman.
fake. It's a play action exactly.
Well, I
So
put it
that
out
was
there
more of a
now.
play action. No, absolutely no. He's going to have to. Like that's just you don't take away a skill set from a guy. I don't care how young he is when that's a big part of who he is and why you grabbed him. So yeah, that'll be activated. The actual RPO will be activated because there's a couple that he clearly were turned off because the defensive end was just crashing. He could have got X amount of yards, much as he wanted several times, but it was just a handoff. So they want to work on the running game. Get get his feet underneath him, which he did quite well. 3 touchdowns, 150 yards. Yeah, first drive, he gets a 56-yard touchdown, then get another 55-yard run and plowed in for a 1-yard touchdown next play. So he looked really good. Wide receivers are worrisome for me, the couple 3 drops. Maybe it's just getting used to, laser beams getting thrown at your hands, getting used to that, I guess, in first game, that kind of thing. But they need someone to step up and make some of those plays. I'm afraid they're going to need something like that in Norman right now. If that's going to be Donovan McCauley or it's going to be Klein, the tight end, I don't know. But someone's going to have to go make a play, right? Like as Underwood gets you the ball, you have to make a play. You have to hang on to that ball. And there's a couple he dropped that kind of killed momentum, and one of which they end up having to punt on after a third down drop at the sticks. You're not too worried about it. New Mexico is a pretty scrappy team. Like they're well coached. I was pretty impressed by them actually.
First
They're
game. That's
physical.
a good first game opponent. Make you work a little
Absolutely.
bit, but you can still have your way.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
not in
Right.
doubt,
They
but
was
they're going to
never
make
they
you
were
work.
never in right. They were never in doubt about losing the game. It was close for a little while, but that was never like wringing my hands because of this, because they controlled the line of scrimmage by and large. Um, New Mexico's quarterback, maybe one of the toughest guys I've ever seen in my life, because Michigan hit him so many times. It hit him hard so many times, and he kept getting back up, getting back up. That dude is probably still sleeping. the flight, he's probably left him on the flight just to let him rest. Yeah, I was impressed by New Mexico. I think they're not going to be a great team, but they're an impressive team from what I saw. And yeah, I'm a little concerned about the O line. It looked okay. They didn't run the ball as well as I thought they probably should, and they were kind of outmanning guys by 40 pounds, and some of those guys across the defensive line. And defensively, they held up fine up front. They were a little undisciplined. They're getting upfield too quickly. They're biting on a lot of double moves and fakes. So, one of his first games, whatever. I mean, it's played 34 guys on defense, so they clearly were trying to
Yeah.
rotate guys in and out and just see who we got, what's the right combination, who can play, who's not going to play this year, which is great because you get those first few games where they don't even count. So get a few freshmen in there, but yeah, we'll see what that looks like in Norman. Saturday is going to be a whole different animal, different atmosphere, different talent. But I thought this season was probably going to be maybe a 7-5, 8-4 team. You got a freshman quarterback. I know he's so talented, but dude, it's still a freshman quarterback. But watching him, those games that I'm like, I don't know, that difficult trip to Nebraska, difficult to USC, like, those games look a little more winnable now.
And the defense
With him, you see
travels.
his talent, and defense will travel,
Defense
right?
travels.
Absolutely,
That's right.
right, right. I'm not sure I'm going to pick him in Norman Saturday because that's a lot to ask. But Nebraska didn't look quite as daunting when I saw him play Cincinnati, and USC's okay, but that's just more of a Michigan school itself never travels well as playing on the West Coast, so
If
time
you're
zone thing, whatever the hell it is.
if I was a Michigan fan, I would be stoked about the future because that you got him for 3
Seriously,
years, and this is as bad of a quarterback as he'll ever be, just
yeah,
right now. So
yes,
as he'll be completely different by the end of the year. The Bryce Underwood that played in this first game, and then the one you're going to get next week in Norman is going to be light years better come Ohio State at the end of the year.
absolutely.
So
Let alone
there's
year
nowhere to go but
3.
up. Yep,
Right. No,
nowhere
I'm
to go but
seriously
up.
like whatever. They're recruiting high level. They got the Savion Hyder kid, the running back. Tennessee wanted pretty bad. Ohio State wanted pretty bad. Kid out of 26 class. So they're getting some elite talent, the running backs and white and their offensive line. The one thing they're getting are very good top wide receivers, but not those elite guys, not the well, Marcus Harrison Jr. and Jeremiah Smith are pretty high level,
Yeah,
but like
that's
they're not getting the Ryan Williams guys that are really, really elite players. So that's something maybe you can address in the portal, or maybe if now they see Bryce Underwood could throw the ball to him, you might be more inclined to go there.
well, if you watched the offense last year, Michigan, if you're a good wide receiver, why in the hell would you even entertain going up there to
Go.
play?
We'll
But
play in Service
now
Academy.
you watch Underwood, but get really good, and I get to play with him for 2 years. That changes things.
Yes,
So
absolutely. That's very exciting. Very exciting. More to come on that, but yeah, very. The future is quite bright at quarterback finally after really disastrous
yes,
24. Other games, Kansas State needed a late touchdown to survive North Dakota State in Manhattan. That was looked like they're going to lose that game. They scored with about 30 seconds left to go up 38-35.
they look like a team that just traveled across the ocean and played a game. That's what they
Yeah,
look like.
exactly.
No,
Exactly.
they have any
But
legs.
having said that, Iowa State putting a hurting on South Dakota. They were over there too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, different teams, right? But Iowa State's a pretty damn football team. Like, they got it sorted out. They got good quarterback play, a great coach, right? They're solid defensively. I'm pretty impressed by them. I mean, they're going to just be sneaky good all year, and people not going to talk about them as much because they're not the sexy name. Like they're not going to get all the attention that the three primary conferences, if you will, include the ACC, get. But they're going to be hanging around there, and certainly I wouldn't be surprised if they're not in
Yep.
the playoffs for sure, and maybe
That's
make
what
a
I was
little
going to say.
noise.
Don't be surprised that I think Iowa State is that team that if you're a fan of, you know, Tennessee or someone like that, maybe even Michigan or someone that's kind of maybe looking at fringe playoff down the stretch, you win a game or two, you might be in, and you forget about Iowa State maybe taking your spot.
Yes, right, and maybe rightly so. They got a senior quarterback, like that long term coach. Like they're just really good football team. So I'm impressed with them. Indiana, not much to see there. Oklahoma, that's one is something on my radar. They struggled a little bit. Like they're like, was it I don't only
Took a minute to get
21
going.
nothing,
Yeah,
24 nothing, 1 point. So um, they. Yeah, they took a little while to get going. The tier played pretty well. He had one interception, but by and large, he looked like what we expect him to look at. 30 to 37, 3 touchdowns, averaged 10 yards attempt. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. They didn't run the ball as well as I thought they would. And their kid Deion Burks, or I'm sorry, Jaden Ott, only had 1 carry for 3 yards. He's supposed to be their workhorse. I don't know if he's dinged or if there's some disciplinary thing, but he was listed as third on the depth chart and only got 1 carry the whole game. So
right. Which is crazy
it's
in
hard
that
to
game.
say. Yeah, exactly. Right. So you think you want to tune him up a little bit. Maybe it's more like, he's still not 100%. Let's give it, another week and let him go full bore, because obviously the other guys can pick up the slack. Yeah. OU, just like Michigan, will know more in about 5 days.
And game day's got to be there, right? That's already
Yeah.
had. I mean,
Yes.
I was
Yes.
just saying,
Right.
you're not going
Yeah.
anywhere else in the country than that
No,
game next year.
that's actually the biggest game, I think. Like as
I
far
think it
as
is.
top matchups, yeah, I think it's the biggest game. So yeah,
Next week's not a big game, not a big weekend for
no,
games. Not like this
no,
one.
it's not. Nope, not at all. And then let's see, jump down to a couple games yesterday. South Carolina, it's kind of a rock fight with Virginia Tech. I don't know. I think Lazora Sellers is fun to watch, though. He's a big kid. He is pretty pedestrian numbered. Real only threw the ball 19 times. He ran 13 times. I mean, they just took care of business. Like Virginia Tech is still
Yeah.
never going to be what they were. Like when Beamer's dad was there, right? That was a long time ago at this point.
That deep ball Sellers threw to Nick Harbor was a thing of beauty.
Yes.
He put that right on the
Yes.
money. So, yeah, that's that. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. No one hardly talks about.
No, exactly. He might as well play for Iowa State. No one wants to talk
Yes.
about him.
Yep. I'd love to have him. If he would have hit the
Absolutely.
portal,
Right.
I would have been fine spending whatever to get that kid, because that
Absolutely.
changes the whole outlook of a football team. That guy.
He sure does. Right. Yeah, he's making South Carolina, who Nick Harbor was a high-rated recruit. That was a kid Michigan really wanted, and them going to South Carolina. So they're getting some kids like that. There's some noise there. Yes, Sellers Yeah, he seriously, folks, like watch him play. He's a
I'm
beast,
happy we
and
don't play him this year.
yeah, seriously, right?
I'm
I bet
happy
Clemson
we
fans
don't.
are happy to see. And then the last game of the weekend, well, till tonight, I guess, would be this Notre Dame Miami game. I believe you had said you thought Notre Dame would win. I picked Miami. Good game, back and forth the whole time. Honestly,
Fun.
fun game, right? Like so, you got back at Miami. That's their guy now, right? You know, he had a good career at Georgia. Really needed a new change of scenery, which was, as we talked about, South Beach is a little more interesting looking than Athens, I imagine. I mean, I've not
That's where
been
his
to
girlfriend
Athens
was too.
or Miami. Yeah, well, exactly. Also, you're dating one of the Cavender twins or whatever the name of it is. That's a good place to hang out, I would think. I'm not saying Miami's back. Miami looks different. It's funny because they had Cam Ward, who was the best player last year, right? Or one of the best players. They just they couldn't put it together late. They had us losing 3 of the last 4, something like that. Miami, and it kind of ran out of steam, but they looked better defensively, I thought, overall. I don't know if that's sustainable. I saw, it's only one game, small sample size, but they made some plays defensively, and I thought Notre Dame looked okay too. I think CJ Carr is probably their guy. Like he's got some wheels, right? Like we're seeing him run for a touchdown here. I was impressed by him. They kept it pretty simple for him early on, especially just throwing some swing routes and some screens, nothing down the field that just to test his arm. Because he's only redshirt freshman, taking 0 snaps too. I think considering they went on the road to Miami, his first game, I think they played pretty well. He had 2 touchdown passes, ran for 1, picked up some third downs with his legs, and then late Miami, they just overwhelmed those tackles for Notre Dame and just took care of business there late. So I thought Cristobal got a little soft there after he got that touch or that interception. Like he just was playing for a field goal with a kind of a shaky kicker
Yep.
last year. I don't know what you're doing, man. Like, did you not learn your lesson? Like, you need to go for the jugular. Notre Dame's got some talent, but obviously it worked out for Miami in the end. But what was your thoughts on the game?
Yeah. Yeah. I picked Notre Dame because I thought they would out tough Miami if it was close in the fourth quarter, and it was close in the fourth quarter, and Miami played tougher. You just didn't see
Yeah,
that last year on defense. They weren't
nope,
tough at all last year on defense, and they have come. They're not and day. They're not in by any stretch the best defense in the country, but if they're going to be probably one of the best in the ACC because it's
yep,
Clemson, Florida State, and them.
right,
But the game, it's 7-7, and Carr throws a touchdown with like 5 minutes to go in the second quarter till halftime, and Miami goes on a 75-yard drive to end the first half, gets ball second half, another 75-yard touchdown to get another one. Carr is on the sideline in real time after he throws a touchdown pass for an hour of real time before he gets his hands on the football again. He's down 21-7.
yeah,
That's
that's
how
hard.
that's the ball game. And he never touched the
Yes,
ball. And when he
right,
threw the touchdown pass at 7-7, he gets the ball back as 21-7.
right.
That's a huge
That's
swing.
huge,
Yeah.
absolutely huge.
And they wound up tying it at 24, but still, I mean, they were
Right,
working from behind the whole time. I mean,
right.
they wasn't in the game. They had to fight their way, claw back into it, and just run out of gas at the end. And Miami kicks field goal and wins it.
Yep, yep. That sums up pretty well. Like both teams should be happy with the game. I mean,
Yeah,
really, if you're a Miami fan, you got to take care of business at home. You got plenty of good games coming up with Florida and Florida State, not too
that'd be a
terribly
fun one.
long. So,
That one
yes,
could get
absolutely.
chippy. That one could get a little
I
chippy.
suspect so, especially after Miami kind of ran the score up a little bit last year, if I
Yep.
remember right. So, this,
And a lot of those kids played together. A lot of those
yes,
Florida
they sure
kids
did.
all played football against each other and with each other, going against each other. Yeah, that one
Yep,
will get chippy.
real chippy, I imagine. So that'll be exciting to get to. So, what other games I guess did we miss here? Did we miss any that we should touch on? I think that was all
Not
the big
really.
ones, right?
Yeah, that was the main ones.
I didn't see any other games that were like, like the A&M game, like, we're not learning much about them there. Um, so yeah, when we do uh, Thursday, we'll do preview for this weekend game, and we'll talk about those. But there's a few interesting games, but no big marquee games like this. You go from like crazy weekend number 1 versus number 2, but other top 10 matchups to, you know, couple teams in the top 25.
It looks like a first weekend slate next weekend.
Yes, exactly. Right,
That's how it looks.
right, right. And so maybe this will get better over the years, the coming years, because SEC going to 9 conference games, and then if they, losing these games early doesn't hurt as bad that used to 2, 3, 4 years, 10 years ago. Pick your time frame. Now you can lose. Texas is still all their goals are in front of them, right? If they
Sure.
can still run a table and get to a title. Same with Notre Dame, right? Like they're still in good shape. So that's the good news. Maybe we'll see more, Florida. I don't know, Florida,
Miami and Florida.
Miami,
Yeah.
Florida, and Indiana. I don't know, like some teams that are like more interesting that we're not seeing them playing FCS teams in these sort of Illinois states of the world. And like
Well,
I know those are paydays for those guys, and it's a nice
yeah.
tune-up. But man, I, I think any fan, you'd be crazy to say you'd rather not see Tennessee play. I don't know, Georgia Tech compared to Tennessee playing, Chattanooga. Like
The thing
that's
the
just
thing
more
of it
interesting.
is, I in my opinion, I think the 9-game slate takes those games away because the conferences are so tough. Big Ten, SEC, they're so hard, especially like we talked about earlier with the parity. Everyone's got good players. So you get 9 conference games. That's not hard games. If I'm a coach, the last thing I'm trying to do is go through a gauntlet of 9 games in my conference. If I'm in the SEC or Big Ten, especially, and then let's go play Miami too.
Yeah, let's go. Let's Heupel's like, let's go travel to LA and play USC.
Right.
That's
That
on
doesn't. That
September
makes no
10th.
sense. That makes no sense. So and of course they play ETSU in state because it's an in-state school and they need the money.
Sure.
Like those
Right.
games fund the whole entire athletic
Absolutely.
departments for years. Whenever they come, get their heads beat in for $1 million, $2 million, whatever it is. Right.
Yes.
Everyone knows what those games are. So
Absolutely.
you're,
It's payday.
yeah. I mean, if I'm a Tennessee coach now as a fan, I love it. Let's go
Yes.
play all the good teams every single weekend. It's
Yes.
just if you're a coach, it's not feasible because the smaller schools, you want to help out your in-state schools too. You gotta have those games to iron out kinks and to next week's ETSU. That way you're gonna let Aguilar throw it, maybe do some wrinkles you wouldn't let him do otherwise because the margin of error is humongous.
Right.
You could throw in some wrinkles. You know what? We're going to run this RPO, just see how it works right here, and just put this
Right.
on video and see how it is.
Yes.
Just
Plus, you
you
need
do
to
things like
practice
that in
live
those
reps
games,
for those kinds
sure.
of things. Like you
And
don't
and
get
your
better unless you practice those
and your
RPOs,
and your
especially.
younger people too, Brian. And your younger people that just put in the work and practice all week long. If you're playing good teams, unless you're blowing that good team out, they never
Right.
see the field. So these
Yes.
these games are important for them too. The whole second half, they may get a couple, 2 or 3 quarters of reps. They just get to get out there and play, which is why they're here.
Yeah.
They've earned the right to do it. They just
Absolutely.
behind that chart behind better players. But yeah, I think you'll see teams go as a 9-game slate happens in conferences. I don't. If I was coaches, I would lobby hard for let's just schedule ETSU and for these 3. Let's play our non-conference or 9 conference games because that's murderer's row anyway.
Right.
Let's get these in-state schools paid. Let the guys have some reps. Let me work on some things because I don't want to try to Coral Gables every year and play Miami down there when I got to play Alabama the
Right.
next week.
Right.
And Florida's stuck with Florida State. That's never going away.
That's
So
never
they're
going
just stuck
away.
with them. Yep.
Right. Right. It's like USC and Notre Dame. They're kind of
Yep.
attached to
Never
the
going
hip
away.
too, potentially. And frankly, selfishly, I think that's great because that's
Absolutely.
classic
For
all-time
fans,
game. I don't want to
I'm
see
here
that.
for it. If you're a
Absolutely.
football
Yeah.
coach, like this shit sucks.
Right. Right. Exactly. I want OU and Oklahoma State to play every year. Right. I mean,
For
I
sure.
want this, but I don't want to see OU and Illinois State. But I don't know. It is about money. So like you said, those programs need that money. Like, I don't know if that well starts to dry up. I don't know how that's going to affect those lower schools. That's going to affect those North Dakotas. That's going to affect those Illinois States, the Georgia States, and Arkansas, Pine Bluff, all those teams.
Well,
That
where else are they going to get the
their
money?
teams like Purdue and Northwestern don't have a ton of money, and they get all the Big Ten money. They're getting half of $50-60 million a year just from TV rights, but like they're still kind of poverty programs that just kind of struggle. Like Tulane beat the piss out of Northwestern, 23-3. I mean, so
Northwestern is so bad.
that's just so
That's
bad. Like
so bad.
just so
Does Michigan get
I don't
Northwestern
know.
this year?
They do. It's actually on my birthday at Wrigley Field, so that's a
Oh,
game I
nice.
want to
Win.
try to go to. Actually, huh?
Win.
Nope. Win.
That's
Hopefully, yeah,
win.
win. Yeah, exactly. Yes. So actually, I've never been to Wrigley, so I actually might go to the game just to kill two birds with one stone. To watch a game there. So
We're going to go
50th
by there on the
birthday.
way up there next week. Next month, going to see you. We can go by Wrigley, just take a picture, say I've seen it. Bucket
Absolutely.
list.
That's plenty. This is hell if we know. As you know, we don't know anything.
Don't forget
Brian, this is
gambling
Chris.
picks.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Gotta
Don't
do
forget
gambling
that.
picks. What are you?
Gambling picks. Yes. Almost forgot.
What are you
It's the
doing?
important part.
Yeah, the most important part of this whole thing, right?
Right.
I need to clean up something from last week. So I'd said that I started with $120, and it wasn't. It was 140. So I
Okay.
did 7 games instead of 6 games. And I was looking at that today. I'm like, where the hell is this extra game coming from? I'm looking on there and I'm going through my ESPN bet app and I'm like, what the hell is happening? But then, yeah, so I did 7 games instead of 6 because I added the Bammer game. Dummy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You needed another game to pick, did you?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I added that one and then I did the parlay or whatever. So anyway, $140 invested. The return last week was 137.94 cents because that Bammer game. Bammers keep sticking it to me. So we're
Even when
$2.
you're not playing them, you're
Yeah,
still.
still suffering. Still suffering. It's like Saban years all over again.
That's right.
So we're $2.06 in the hole this week. But now again, and I've got it at the very bottom, just the home teams, dummy. And I, for whatever reason, I'm looking at the games and because it wouldn't let me bet on a lot of them, like, I'm just going to throw this on Bama because they'll beat Florida State. And then of course that happens. So that's what put us in the hole. But the home teams that you could bet on were 4-0. So if I'd have just stuck with that, we'd be 4-0, 100% winning percentage. You know, I also bet on UT and South Carolina. That was in Atlanta, of course. That were 2-0 there. So we start off. I did the $30 parlay, so I've got 170 total invested, $137 on the return this week. So we're down $32.06 overall.
Okay.
But from here on out, it is SEC home teams only.
It's only.
Got to be disciplined. Got to hold yourself accountable. Right?
Absolutely.
Got to hold yourself accountable here. So that's what I got to do. I got
You got to
rein
sprint
it
to the
in here.
ball.
That's right. Yeah. Play through the whistle.
No loafing.
That's what I have to do.
Through the whistle.
Play through the whistle. Not to it, just through it to make sure.
Yeah. Oh, I meant to ask you, is that mostly like a 99% Tennessee fans at the game the other day? There's a lot of orange there, but I assume it's yeah, I'm sure.
90-10 easy.
That was loud. That place was loud. It sounded like on TV it was at least.
Yeah, we were right behind the actual Syracuse band.
Okay.
And, I mean, the section we were in, were right up behind them, probably 6-8 rows right behind them, but up higher. And but that, I mean, the band and their sections were kind of around there, but it was all Tennessee. Of course, it was going to be.
Yeah.
You're not traveling from Syracuse, New York, down here. Watch your team get smacked.
Get teeth kicked in.
Yeah, no.
So
that's where we are. No. So next week I'll have all the picks in, home teams, SEC only, and see if we can get this thing back going right.
Sounds good. All right, that's Hell If We Know. Recap for this first week. We'll see you Thursday with a preview to this weekend's games. Thanks for watching. Hell If We Know.
Have a good week.
I'm
Happy Labor Day,
Chris. Happy Labor Day.